There's a story told many times that you threatened to slash Chris Benoit's throat, and he used that as an excuse to get out of his contract. Do you have you ever heard that before?
Oh, I've heard
it. What are your thoughts? This is not a PG show we're doing, so don't worry about it.
Well, it's public knowledge that Benoit started having an affair with Nancy, Kevin's wife.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin would be in the ring wrestling, and Benoit would have her out, being romancing her and all that kind of stuff. Absolutely insulted Kevin in the worst way you could insult someone by doing something like that in the workplace. You know, everybody else knew. You know, and pride and everything. Benoit did about as bad a situation and Nancy as you could do. Okay. With that being said, Kevin, when he found out about it, never went and beat Benoit up. Never did nothing. He left him alone. And I asked Kevin, because Kevin's violent. He's violent. I said, Kevin, how'd you get over? You know, I mean, God, I got nuts. I don't know if I could have handled it or not. And he said, Mike, I lost my wife. I lost my brand new home on Daytona Beach. I lost almost all my money. I didn't want to lose my job. If I said boo to Chris Benoit, I'd lose my job. And I didn't. That's all I had left. If I would have done that, she would have beat me. I'd lost everything. I went, that makes sense. I get it. So he never bothered Chris Benoit. He never did nothing. Nancy is a shit-disturbing bitch. She had a real dark, evil side that unless you knew the family, you didn't know existed. So she was stirring Chris up all the time. Kevin's going to get you. You know, he's not the kind of guy to let you do this. So every time you'd go home, Nancy was yapping, keeping Chris wired up. When Kevin Sullivan got the booking job, I called him the Band of Midgets. Benoit, Dean Malenko, Perry Saturn,
Eddie Guerrero.
Eddie Guerrero. They all went to our boss. What the heck was another? TB Bill. Nice guy. He was an accountant. How they thought he could run wrestling. He was the accountant for WCW. How are you going to run wrestling as an accountant? But he was a nice guy. He tried. He was polite. He was nice. They go to him and say, we can't trust our careers in the hands of Kevin Sullivan. And because Mike Graham is his friend and a road agent, we want Kevin fired and we want Mike fired. Just because.
Mm-hmm.
So the guy, Bill Bush was his name. So Billy says, well, he said, either fire him or we're going to New York. So Bill said, well, talking to you, trying to talk you out of this, do any good? No, they got to be fired or we're leaving. Bill said, I guess you're going to be leaving then because I won't be threatened. And I'm not going to fire someone for no reason. He said, I can't fire them. What have they done? They haven't done anything. Can't just fire somebody for the heck of firing them. So Bill comes and tells me and Kevin. We're in Cincinnati. We're in Cincinnati, Ohio. And and so he comes and tells us that they want us fired just because they can't trust Kevin because of his relationship with Nancy, and he never got back at Benoit, and that because he was the booker, he was going to ruin his career and do all stupid. And Kevin had nothing but respect for Benoit in the ring. You know, he didn't agree with what he had done personally, but as far as in the ring, he was good, and it was no problem. So I was livid. So I walked out of the dressing room, and I found Benoit in the dressing room. I said, you come with me. We got to have a talk. I walked him out in the middle of the arena where nobody else was around. And I said, I just had a talk with Bill Bush. I said, Kevin has done nothing ever but compliment your work and say what a great guy you are in the ring and want to give you a push and thinks, that you could make money and all that kind of stuff. I said, me, I don't think you'll draw a dime. But Kevin does. Me, if you'd have taken my wife and my money and humiliated me in the workplace in front of all my friends, and if you'd have done to me what you did to Kevin Sullivan, I said, I'd beat your ass every time I saw you. Every day. Every time I saw you, you'd get an ass whipping if you'd have done that to me. Because I said, that was wrong. You shouldn't have done it. It was wrong. And I said, but now you're trying to take my job because I'm Kevin's friend? You didn't bang my old lady. You didn't embarrass me. You didn't do anything to me. But I'm Kevin's friend. You want me to get fired? That takes food and money from my family now. And you're doing it just because you're spiteful. I said, if you mess with me, I'll cut your head off. I'll put it on a stick in your front yard so all the neighborhood kids can come throw rocks at it. I said, I'm not Kevin Sullivan. I don't care about losing my job. I don't care about anything else. If you mess with my livelihood, I will come get you. Now you take that back and figure it out. And he looked at me. JJ and I was talking about that this morning. He runs back to the back. Hour later, JJ comes and gets me. He says, oh, Mike, I can't believe. And he was kind of laughing. He said, I know you did it. I'm not even going to ask you if you did it. I know you did. I said, you know I did what, JJ? I just got a call from Human Resources. Benoit called him and said that he had to leave here immediately because you threatened his life. I just looked at JJ and kind of smiled. I said, you know, that's a bunch of crap, James. I said, did I say I would beat him up if he had taken my wife and humiliated me like he did Kevin? Yeah. Said he's trying to take my job, so of course he's going to talk trash about me. But did I say I was going to kill him? No, I never said that. So he said, well, you got to call the lady at the Human Resources. So I had to get on the phone, I had to call her, I had to explain everything to her. In the meantime, they all left, and I looked at it as though we saved the company. Their salaries combined was almost $3 million, and they never drew a dime. I got the minute-to-minute reports from all the TVs. People were changing the station when they were coming on. Never drew a dime. So I kind of laughed when they left. I didn't care.
Mike Graham, Mike, we're going to continue on Chris Benoit. You know, horrible tragedy happened to son, the whole style.
To everybody.
Yeah.
To everybody. It was a horrible tragedy,
right.
Period.
Did you, knowing him and seeing how he was, did you see this kind of him in his head or it's coming or?
No, I hadn't been around Chris since he went to New York. But, I mean, I watched Nancy grow up, his wife. She sat on the front row of Orlando for years and years when she was a little girl with her mother. Then she got married, and then there was her and her husband and the mother. And, you know, when Kevin first started going out with her, and I knew her from day one, and she had, like a lot of people do, I'm not picking on anybody, but she had a pretty dark, evil side to her. And she stabbed Kevin in the chest, tried to stab him in the chest with a butcher knife when they were married. Cops came and arrested her. Kevin went and got her out of jail, and cops went, what are you doing? He said, she's my wife. I can't have her arrested in jail. I said, well, you could have been in the morgue right now, because if you wouldn't have got your arm up, it would have been more than the tip of the knife going in your chest. You'd have been stabbed. So in any relationship, any husband and wife, any guy and girlfriend, anything, emotions and life and stress and just things can get crazy. Well, she, like some women I've known, knew how to really piss a man off. And she liked pushing those buttons, you know. She liked pushing the buttons. She liked making someone angry. So it's all anybody can do is guess, you know. The people that know what happened are all dead. But I don't see Chris as a murderer. I mean, an intentional, like a premeditated thing, other than, and I think it sucks because he did what he did to his little boy. He never hurt anybody. He never did anything. He didn't deserve what he got. And in being married, relationships and that kind of thing, I think probably Chris got in an argument and maybe pushed Nancy or did something and she hit her head. Or I think if I have to guess at it, and that's all we can do is guess. You asked my opinion. I think she accidentally died. I don't think he meant to kill her. But once she was dead, now insets the heartbeat. The oh my God, I'm going to go to prison. I've killed my wife. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to? Because it took him a day to think about this, so it wasn't an instantaneous thing going off in his head. And I don't know, but I've heard that the little boy text messaged one of his friends saying that his mommy was in the room next door, dead.
Really? Oh.
So I think in Chris's confusion, I couldn't even imagine what was going through his mind at that point, But I think he thought, who's going to take care of my boy? Is he going to go to foster home or what? I just don't know. But to think and do the thing with the little boy the next day, and then himself, he thought about it and planned that part of it. But I think it all started as an accident. I think it got way, way blown out of hand. I don't really think Chris was an intentionally evil person. I called him out. He wouldn't fight. That somebody that's going to intentionally kill somebody, I'd think if you pushed him hard enough and said enough to him that they'd come out and fight. Well, he wouldn't fight. Mm-hmm. So it's a horrible incident, and it's too bad the little boy had to be there, and he never had a chance. He never hurt anybody. He didn't do anything. That's the outcome of it. I think it just really sucks that the little boy had to be involved. But I don't think Chris was a murderer. I don't think he did anything intentionally other than kill the little boy. He meant to do that. And he meant to kill himself. I think it all started as an accident. Mm-hmm. It just got really nasty. And it's too bad. They were young. They had their whole lives ahead of them, And crazy things happen. Mm-hmm.